Welcome to today's Transformation Dive, right here on Earn Flow Zone. You know that feeling? The one where you tentatively open your banking app and maybe quickly close it again? Yeah, that one. It's the gut punch of avoidance, the silent acknowledgement that maybe things aren't quite where you want them to be financially. Perhaps you're battling debt that feels like a hydra. Chop off one head, two more appear. Or maybe you're earning a decent income, comfortable even. But savings seem to stagnate. Major goals feel perpetually out of reach. You look around, see people traveling, buying homes, investing with apparent ease, and a chasm opens up inside you. The vast, intimidating gap between your reality and the life you envision. The conventional wisdom, soaked into us from movies and headlines, is that you need a game changer, a lottery win. Hey, a man can dream. A sudden inheritance, a massive, unexpected raise, or that side hustle that blows up into $1 million business overnight. You catch yourself thinking, if only I had $50,000, or once I get that big promotion. You're essentially waiting for a financial superhero to swoop in and fix everything. Let's be honest, we've all played this waiting game at some point. It's like sitting by the phone, hoping for that one perfect job offer, or refreshing your crypto app, praying for a 1,000% jump by tomorrow. This dependency on a sudden external miracle, it's not just wishful thinking. It's a performance killer. It's a mindset trap that keeps you rooted in passive hope rather than active building. It makes the journey seem impossible because you're fixated on the distant peak of the mountain, completely ignoring the crucial climbable path starting right at your feet. It's telling yourself you can't run a marathon because you haven't magically acquired the ability to run 26 miles today, instead of lacing up your shoes for 1 mile. If you're into real, actionable money and mindset content, hit like and subscribe. It helps way more than you think. Drop a comment with where you're watching from or your biggest money habit win. Let's dive in and change the way you think about success. You feel stuck, waiting for a miracle. You open your banking app and flinch. You've been avoiding it, haven't you? Maybe you're drowning in debt you can't seem to tackle. Or maybe you're earning decently but feel like you're getting nowhere with savings. You look at people who seem to have it all figured out, the ones traveling, investing, building something real, and you feel a gulf, a massive gap between where you are and where you want to be. It's like watching someone effortlessly bake a perfect cake while you're still trying to figure out how to turn the oven on. The conventional wisdom whispers, or sometimes screams, that you need a massive break, a huge raise, a lucky investment, a side hustle that explodes overnight. You tell yourself, if only I had X dollars, or if only I had that big opportunity. You're waiting for the lightning strike, the moment everything changes. This mindset is a trap. It keeps you passive, dreaming of a future rescue rather than building your own bridge. It makes the mountain look insurmountable because you're only seeing the summit, not the path right at your feet. Here's the myth bust. While big breaks can happen, relying on them is like planning your retirement around winning the lottery. The truth is, you don't need a miracle to build wealth, achieve goals, or change your financial reality. What you need is consistency. You need to embrace the power of small, compounding actions. Think of it like going to the gym. One workout won't transform you, but consistently showing up a few times a week, month after month, year after year. That builds serious strength and endurance. That sudden windfall people dream of, It's often squandered surprisingly fast if the underlying habits of managing, saving, and investing aren't already there. The overnight success story you read about? Dig deeper, and you'll almost always find years of unnoticed, consistent effort. Learning, failing, and getting back up went into it. Your biggest breakthroughs won't likely come from a single grand gesture, but from the relentless, often boring application of small, smart choices day after day. This is the core concept we're diving into, the transformative power of consistency in your money, your skills, and your mindset. This principle is a bedrock because of cause-effect. Small, positive actions repeated don't just add up, they multiply. A tiny percentage saved each week, a few dollars invested consistently, 10 minutes spent learning a new skill daily. Over time, these create exponential results you can't achieve with sporadic bursts of effort. It's the compound effect, working for you, not against you. Stop waiting for the lottery ticket. Start building your fortune, your future, your peace of mind, one small action at a time. This applies to you, whether you're scraping by and trying to get ahead, comfortably coasting and wanting more growth, or aggressively climbing and aiming higher. The principle is the same. Ask yourself, what's one small, consistent action you could start taking today for your finances or personal growth? This one habit could change everything for you. Section 1. Introduction. Welcome to today's transformation dive, right here in the Earn Flow Zone. You ever scroll through social media, see someone absolutely crushing it? Maybe they just sold their company, bought their dream home, or are living that digital nomad life, and think, man, I wish I could just get one big break? Or maybe you're waiting for that perfect investment, that job offer out of the blue, or that magic moment where everything just clicks into place. It's almost like we're conditioned to expect lightning to strike, solving all our financial and life woes in one spectacular flash. Well, buckle up, because today we're going to challenge that idea head-on. We're talking about ditching the fantasy of the sudden jackpot and embracing the quiet power of consistency. This isn't about finding a loophole or a secret trick. It's about building a foundation that lasts. If you're ready to stop waiting for permission from the universe and start taking deliberate steps towards the life and financial freedom you actually want, you're in the right place. This channel is all about actionable strategies and powerful mindset shifts to help you earn more, manage your money better, and grow into the person you need to be to handle real wealth and success. If you're into real, actionable money and mindset content, hit like and subscribe. It helps way more than you think. And hey, drop a comment with where you're watching from or your biggest money habit win so far. Let's celebrate those small wins together. All right? Enough preamble. Let's dive in and change the way you think about success. Section 2. The myth of the big break. So you know those stories, right? The kind that makes headlines. Startup founder sells for millions. Investor makes a killing on GameStop. Unknown artist goes viral overnight. We absolutely devour these narratives. They're exciting, they're dramatic, and they paint a picture of success happening in this sudden, explosive moment. It feels like winning the lottery, but for your career or your finances. And honestly, who doesn't want that? It taps into this deep desire for instant change, for skipping the hard parts, and just arriving at the destination. You might even find yourself paralyzed, thinking, what's the point of these small steps? I need a big idea, a big connection, a big break to actually get anywhere. Maybe you feel like you need to quit your stable job and launch a risky all-or-nothing venture, convinced that only massive, dramatic changes can yield significant results. It's a huge leap, often fueled by desperation or a belief that you're just one lucky shot away from everything changing. But here's the surprising insight, the kind they don't put on the highlight reel. Most of these big breaks aren't random acts of luck. They are the culmination of countless small, unglamorous, often tedious steps taken consistently over a long period. Think of it like building a massive brick wall. Nobody stands back and admires the placement of a single brick. But that wall doesn't appear magically. It's the result of placing one brick, then another, perfectly aligned, day after day. The big break is when someone finally sees the finished wall, not the thousands of individual bricks that built it. It's the daily learning you did, the small amount you saved or invested every single week, the relationship you nurtured, one conversation or coffee meeting at a time. It's the blog post you wrote, even though nobody read it, the workout you did when you didn't feel like it, the awkward networking event you attended. These are the quiet engines of progress. The myth tells you that you need a sudden external event, a lucky break, to change your trajectory. The liberating reality is that you change your trajectory internally with small, consistent, deliberate actions that compound over time. For instance, if you're dreaming of building a successful online business, but feel overwhelmed by the idea of launching a whole company, don't wait for the perfect moment or a big break idea. Instead, focus on writing just 500 words for your business plan or website copy every single day. That's it. Or if you want to become a great investor, don't wait to inherit a fortune. Commit to learning about one new company or investment concept every week and saving just $20 a week to invest. This consistent action builds knowledge, skill, and momentum far more effectively than waiting for a mythical big break. This shift from waiting to acting is a core concept for real growth. The surprising habit? Embracing the mundane. The simple truth is, success often looks boring up close. It's showing up when you don't want to. It's doing the small task nobody sees. This one habit, consistently taking small steps, changed everything for me and countless others I've mentored. It replaces anxiety about the future with productive action today. Ask yourself, what area in your finances or career are you waiting for a big break to solve? Now, identify one small, daily or weekly action you could take starting today in that exact direction. Try this for a week and watch what happens. Section 12. Wind down, reflective close. All right, we've covered a lot today. From debunking the myth of the sudden big break and embracing the power of consistent small steps, to exploring how our mindset is truly the engine of our financial reality. If there's one big takeaway I want you to hold on to from our time together, it's this. The significant results you crave in life and finance are rarely, if ever, the product of one giant leap. They are the inevitable outcome of tiny, deliberate steps taken over and over again. It's not the splashy headlines that build wealth or character. It's the quiet, persistent effort behind the scenes. The potential long-term benefit here is profound. By focusing on consistent, small actions, you build momentum, develop discipline, and create a foundation that is stable and resilient. You move from a state of wishing and waiting to a state of powerful, compounding action. You stop feeling like a leaf blown by the wind, hoping to land somewhere good, and start feeling like a sturdy oak, growing stronger year after year, weathering any storm. This deeper insight about money and growth is that they aren't just about numbers on a screen or achievements on a resume. They are deeply personal journeys of self-discovery and discipline. Your finances are a mirror, reflecting your habits, your beliefs, and your willingness to show up for yourself, even when it's not glamorous. It's about trusting the process, celebrating the tiny victories, like sticking to your budget for a week, saving that extra $5, or spending 15 minutes learning a new skill. These small wins build the self-trust you need for the bigger challenges. Remember, the most powerful force isn't luck, it's compound consistency. Keep placing those bricks, keep taking those small steps, and trust that you are building something incredible, one day at a time. In the end, your bank account will catch up to your mindset, not the other way around. Okay, so you've identified areas you want to grow in. Maybe set some big, exciting financial or personal goals. That's fantastic, but let's be honest. Sometimes just thinking about the size of that goal feels like staring up at Everest from base camp. You realize almost immediately how much distance there is to cover, how much effort it will take, and your motivation can just evaporate. This is where most people hit a wall, and frankly, it's not your fault. See, your brain, brilliant as it is, has one primary directive: keep you safe and conserve energy. Massive change feels inherently unsafe. Trying to go from absolutely zero budgeting to a meticulous, detailed daily expense tracker? It screams overwhelming workload to your brain. Attempting to save your first $10,000 when your bank balance is closer to 100, it feels not just difficult, but downright impossible, like trying to jump across a canyon. This cognitive dissonance, this feeling of "I should do this," clashing with "this feels too hard," triggers resistance. It leads straight to procrastination, that familiar urge to just scroll social media instead, feeling defeated before you've even laced up your shoes. We're wired for comfort and predictability, not giant, terrifying leaps into the unknown. It's like your brain sees a massive mountain of change and says, "Nope, cozy couch is much safer. Let's stay here." But here's the truly surprising insight straight from behavioral science. You don't need giant leaps. In fact, they often backfire. The secret, the real power behind building sustainable momentum, lies in small, almost ridiculously tiny steps. Think about it. Tackling a goal by making a change so small it feels insignificant. That bypasses your brain's resistance entirely. It feels manageable. Saving just $5 this week doesn't trigger the same panic response as "save $10,000 now." Tracking expenses for a single day? That feels achievable, not like signing up for financial accounting boot camp. This isn't just wishful thinking. There's a chemical reason it works. Achieving even a small win, depositing that $5, successfully tracking for one day, finally canceling that unused subscription, releases a little hit of dopamine in your brain. That jolt feels good, right? It's your brain's reward system kicking in. It reinforces the behavior, making you more likely to do it again. It's like getting a tiny gold star that says, "Hey, you did a good thing. Let's try that again tomorrow." This builds momentum, brick by tiny brick. It is infinitely easier to make a 1% improvement today than to attempt a 100% transformation overnight. The cause is the small, non-threatening action. The effect is the dopamine hit and the building of positive reinforcement loops. So instead of trying to conquer the whole mountain today, Let's focus on taking just one tiny step onto the trail. Your action today, right now. Pick one singular financial or mindset action you can take today that requires less than 5 minutes. Seriously, less than 5 minutes. Maybe it's just checking your bank balance without judgment. Maybe it's reading just one single paragraph from a book about investing or budgeting. Perhaps it's simply saying a positive affirmation about your money situation or your capability. This one habit, starting incredibly small, isn't about finishing. It's about simply starting and proving to yourself it's not scary. Try this today, right after watching this video. What's that one minuscule step you can take? Now, shifting gears slightly, let's talk about the foundation upon which all great financial futures are built. Because honestly, while finding the best investment or chasing the highest interest rate feels like the main game, kind of like a dog chasing a squirrel, there's something far more powerful at play. This isn't about getting rich quick. It's about building wealth sustainably. Like growing a garden, we often get fixated on optimizing every last cent from the start. You hear people talking about needing a huge lump sum to even begin investing, or that saving just a few dollars here and there is pointless. This is a classic beginner's trap, a mental roadblock built on perfectionism rather than progress. You might even significantly increase your income, but if you lack the discipline of consistent saving or investing, you often find yourself still feeling behind, wondering where the money went. It's like having the ingredients for a fantastic meal, but only cooking it once a year. Delicious when it happens, but you're hungry the rest of the time. Here's the surprising truth, the myth-busting insight that changes everything. A small, consistent contribution, week after week, month after month, will almost always outperform larger, inconsistent contributions over the long haul. Why? Because of the magic of compounding. Think of it like rolling a snowball down a hill. A big, clunky snow boulder rolled only once doesn't gather as much snow as a small snowball that's rolled steadily, picking up speed and mass with every rotation. Every small deposit into your savings or investment account is a seed planted. Plant seeds frequently, and your garden grows lush and full. Plant them sporadically, and you end up with a sparse, disappointing patch. $1 saved or invested today, and every day or week after that, has more time and more opportunities to compound and grow than a larger sum saved months from now. The frequency of putting money to work is often more impactful than the initial amount or even the exact return rate you get right now. This means you don't need a financial windfall to start building wealth. You don't need to wait until you get that big promotion or inherit money. You simply need to start and stay consistent. This one habit changed everything for me. Understanding that showing up financially, week in and week out, no matter how small the amount, was the actual secret sauce. Your action step this week is simple, powerful, and non-negotiable. Set up an automatic transfer. Go into your online banking and schedule an automatic transfer from your checking account to a separate savings account or an investment account. Pick a date. Ideally, the day you get paid, and an amount. Don't overthink the amount. Start with something you absolutely will not miss. It could be $10, $20, $50, whatever is genuinely manageable right now. Make it happen automatically. Remove the decision fatigue. This simple act turns inconsistency into a powerful, automated habit. Try this for a week. Actually, make it permanent. Ask yourself, what's stopping you from setting up this automatic transfer right now? Usually, it's just inertia or the false belief that it won't make a difference. Trust me, it makes all the difference. Consistency isn't glamorous, but it's the bedrock of financial success. Okay, let's talk about the engine that fuels financial growth beyond saving and managing what you have. Earning more. You're probably here because you want to increase your income, maybe get a better job, snag that promotion, or finally launch that side hustle you've been dreaming about. And maybe, just maybe, you feel a bit stuck on how to actually make that happen. You might look at people earning more and think, wow, they must have a fancy degree from a top university, or they probably have a massive network of influential people, or even, they're just inherently smarter or more talented than I am. You might tell yourself you don't have the endless hours required to learn something completely new, not while juggling your current job, family life, social commitments, and the never-ending pile of laundry. So, you tell yourself you'll wait. You wait for the right time, the perfect opportunity, or until you somehow magically acquire the bandwidth to learn that valuable skill. But here's the surprising insight, the pivot point that changes everything. Becoming valuable and increasing your earning potential doesn't require massive, disruptive leaps or waiting for perfect conditions. People who successfully increase their income streams or get better jobs often do it through something far more accessible: consistent, dedicated skill acquisition. The powerful truth is that dedicating a small, manageable amount of time each day to learning or practicing a high-value skill compounds dramatically over months and years. Think of it like saving money. A small amount regularly adds up to a fortune over time. Similarly, those 30 minutes you spend daily learning Excel shortcuts, practicing coding, improving your public speaking skills, or getting a handle on the basics of digital marketing aren't just 30 minutes lost in the day. They stack up. 30 minutes a day, 5 days a week, is already 2.5 hours. Over a year, that's over 130 hours. If you commit even more consistently, say 30 minutes daily, that's over 180 hours in a year, equivalent to more than a month of full-time work dedicated purely to skill development. This isn't theory. It's the practical, repeatable process by which ordinary people become highly valuable in the marketplace. The cause-effect is crystal clear. Consistent effort applied to a relevant skill leads to measurable improvement, which increases your value to employers or clients, directly impacting your earning potential. It's like learning to cook. You don't need to become a Michelin star chef overnight. You start by mastering one technique, like making a perfect omelet or chopping vegetables efficiently. Practice that for 15 minutes every day, and soon you're not just better at that one thing. You've built muscle memory, understanding, and confidence that spill over into other areas. You suddenly realize you can learn new things, and you start combining techniques. Before you know it, you're whipping up meals you never thought possible. The initial small effort compounded into significant culinary skill. The myth we bust here is that skills are acquired in giant leaps. They're not. They're built brick by brick, 15 or 30 minutes at a time. You don't need to enroll in an expensive full-time boot camp or quit your job to go back to school. You need discipline and a willingness to dedicate a small sliver of your day consistently. Maybe you swap 30 minutes of scrolling social media for 30 minutes of a LinkedIn learning course, a coding tutorial, or practicing persuasive communication techniques. Imagine if scrolling paid you instead of costing you your time and attention. A man can dream, right? Okay, enough talk. Here is your specific action prompt, a challenge from the Earn Flow Zone. Identify one skill, just one, that genuinely has the potential to increase your earning power in your current role, a potential new role, or for a side project. It could be anything from advanced Excel for data analysis, learning SEO, mastering video editing, improving sales techniques, or even something like effective negotiation. Once you've picked it, commit right now to spending just 15 to 30 minutes every single day, learning or practicing that skill for the next 30 days. Set a timer. Make it non-negotiable. This one habit, this tiny daily commitment, is the single most underestimated driver of long-term financial growth. What skill will you choose? All right, let's pick up the thread from where we left off. We've talked about understanding your current flow, maybe even identifying some leaks or blockages. But let's get real for a second. All the spreadsheets, budgets, and investment strategies in the world can only take you so far if you're constantly fighting against your own internal operating system. And that brings us to a powerful truth often overlooked. Your mindset needs daily training. Think about it. Your financial reality isn't just about the numbers. It's profoundly influenced by your internal narrative, the stories you tell yourself about money, about your own worth, and about your capability to manage or grow wealth. Where did these stories come from? Often, they're echoes from childhood. Maybe you heard money is evil, or that rich people are greedy, or perhaps, even worse, that you just aren't good with money and never will be. These aren't just random thoughts. They can become deep-seated beliefs that shape every financial decision you make. Often subconsciously, you might default to scarcity thinking, constantly feeling like there's not enough, even when things are objectively okay. This mindset can create a self-fulfilling prophecy, keeping you stuck in a cycle of fear and limitation. Many people try to tackle this negative programming head-on with one massive effort. Maybe reading a motivational book cover to cover once, or doing one intense visualization session hoping it fixes everything. It's kind of like saying, okay, I ate one kale leaf. Where are my abs? Or I went to the gym that one time. Why aren't I fit? Trying to flip years, maybe decades, of ingrained negative programming with a single burst of positive thinking is just not how our brains work. It's a bit like trying to instantly become fluent in a new language by just listening to one podcast episode. Doesn't quite cut it. Here's the surprising insight, the little secret that separates those who truly thrive financially from those who constantly struggle. Just like building physical fitness requires consistent, small repetitions, daily workouts, healthier food choices over time, mindset is built the exact same way. It's not the occasional grand gesture. It's the daily, often mundane effort that rewires your brain. Practicing gratitude for what you do have, even if it feels minuscule right now, subtly shifts your focus from lack to abundance. Spending just a few minutes journaling about your financial goals, writing them down as if they've already happened, starts training your brain to see possibility instead of just problems. Using positive affirmations, not as magic spells, but as intentional statements you choose to reinforce, helps counter those old negative tapes playing on repeat, or simply catching a negative financial thought. I can't afford that. Money is always a struggle. And consciously reframing it. How could I afford that if it was important enough? I am learning to manage money effectively. Builds mental resilience over time. The cause-effect here is direct and powerful. Consistent, daily positive mental work builds new neural pathways, It strengthens your belief in your ability to handle money, increases your awareness of opportunities, and reduces the crippling fear that scarcity thinking creates. This slow, steady drip of positive reinforcement changes your perspective and ultimately shifts your actions and your financial reality. It's not about becoming delusionally optimistic. It's about building a realistic, empowered perspective that allows you to navigate challenges and seize opportunities effectively. This daily effort is the rewiring process. So here's a simple, actionable step to start building that financial mindset muscle. Try this for a week. Spend just 5 minutes each morning or evening. Use this time intentionally to focus on positive financial thoughts. This could be visualizing your financial goals. See yourself hitting that savings target, paying off that debt, making that investment. Or simply write down one thing you genuinely appreciate about your current financial situation, no matter how small. Maybe it's having a roof over your head, food in the fridge, or the ability to earn something, anything. This one habit, this small daily commitment, can start a ripple effect, slowly but surely changing the internal landscape that dictates your external financial world. It's the fundamental training your financial future needs. Okay, let's zero in on Section 7 and expand it according to the Earned Flow Zone structure and requirements. Assume this flows from a previous discussion about starting the journey. All right, so you've taken the first step. Maybe you've committed to setting aside $10 every single week, no matter what. Or perhaps you've decided to finally track every single penny you spend, even if just for a few days initially. Maybe you're dedicating 30 minutes a day to learning that new skill you know could boost your earning potential, like coding or digital marketing. You're putting in the effort, right? You're showing up. And then you look at the results after a week or two, maybe even 3. You check the savings account. 10, 20, maybe $30? Wow. You look at your expense tracker. Okay, you know where the money's going, but the debt isn't exactly evaporating before your eyes. That new skill still feels clunky, awkward, maybe even impossible. You're putting in the time, the focus, the energy, and frankly, it feels like you're getting, well, pretty much nothing back. This right here? This is the infamous nothing happening phase. You see this everywhere, not just in finance. It's why people quit the gym after 2 weeks when they don't see dramatic weight loss or sudden biceps. It's why someone gives up learning an instrument because their fingers still fumble over simple chords. They started with enthusiasm, put in legitimate effort, but the expected immediate linear return just wasn't there. People inherently expect progress to look like a straight line climbing steadily upwards. X effort today equals Y result tomorrow. They think if they save $10, their net worth should feel $10 bigger in a significant, tangible way, or that 30 minutes of practice means they should be noticeably better at something right now. When reality doesn't match this simple equation, discouragement sets in fast. This isn't working, the brain whispers, and usually that's enough to stop the action. But here's the surprising insight, the critical truth that separates those who succeed from those who stall. Progress, real progress, is almost never linear, especially not in the beginning. The initial stages are less about visible results and entirely about building momentum, cementing the habit, wiring your brain for consistency, and understanding the absolute fundamentals. Think about boiling water. You put the pot on the stove, turn up the heat. For what feels like ages, nothing appears to be happening. The water just sits there, placid. You keep the heat on. You might even think, is this stove even working? But below the surface, the temperature is rising. Energy is being absorbed. And then, suddenly, often without much warning after that long period of apparent inactivity, the water reaches 100 degrees and erupts into a rolling boil. That significant, visible change happened only after consistent, below-the-surface effort for a prolonged period. Your financial growth, your skill acquisition, your debt reduction, it often works exactly the same way. The early effort isn't wasted. It's being stored, building potential energy, laying the necessary groundwork that you can't even see yet. Every $10 saved builds the saving habit. Every minute tracking expenses builds financial awareness. Every practice session builds muscle memory and understanding. This is where you need faith. You have to trust the process, believing that the consistent small actions you're taking are accumulating, even when the mirror or the bank account isn't shouting positive affirmations back at you yet. Acknowledge that this initial phase will feel slow. It will test your commitment. But your critical action here is simple, yet profoundly difficult for many. Commit to your chosen small action, whether it's saving, tracking, learning, whatever, for at least 6 to 8 weeks, non-negotiable. Do it even if you see no dramatic results. Your win in this phase isn't a massive balance change. It's showing up consistently anyway. It's proving to yourself that you can stick with it when it's hard and boring. Trust the process. The boil will come if you keep the heat on. Okay, let's talk about something that trips up so many people on their financial journey. Maybe you've been here. You decide, okay, this is it. I'm getting my money together. You dive headfirst into creating the perfect budget. You download all the fancy apps, spend hours categorizing every single past transaction meticulously. Coffees, gas, random Amazon buys, planning every single dollar like a financial architect designing a skyscraper. And you do it. You execute this flawless system for maybe 3 days. Then, because, well, life happens, a busy week at work, unexpected stress, or just plain forgetting, because you're a human being and not a robot financial advisor, you miss a day. And because the system isn't perfect anymore, because you can't maintain that initial burst of intense, flawless execution, you do something many of us are experts at. You abandon it entirely. You tell yourself you're just bad at budgeting, that personal finance isn't for you. Or perhaps your approach is the opposite. You avoid looking at your money for months, letting statements pile up, only to deep dive into the overwhelming mess once every 6 months, feeling completely swamped and stressed by the sheer volume of it all. Sound familiar? It's like training for a marathon by sprinting for 3 days straight, collapsing, and then deciding you're not built for running at all. Spoiler alert, you definitely aren't built for sprinting marathons. Here's the surprising truth, the myth that needs busting right now. Life is messy, and your financial habits don't need to be perfect to be effective. In fact, aiming for perfect intensity is often the surest way to fail long-term. The surprising insight is this: consistency, even when it's messy, imperfect, and looks nothing like that perfectly curated finance Instagram feed you saw, creates far, far better long-term results than occasional, unsustainable bursts of perfect intensity. Think of it like tracking your food intake or your workouts. Tracking 80% of your meals every day, even if you miss a snack here or there, gives you infinitely more valuable data and builds a stronger habit than tracking 100% flawlessly for 3 days and then tracking 0% for the next month. It's the compound effect of showing up again and again, even when it's not pretty. Missing one day of tracking your spending or forgetting to check your balance one morning isn't a catastrophic failure. It's not a sign that you should give up. It's just a data point. It's a temporary pause. The real win, the crucial moment that builds resilience and lasting habit, is simply forgiving yourself for that imperfection and getting back on track the very next day. Your financial growth isn't built on a foundation of flawless execution. It's built on a foundation of showing up, dusting yourself off, and trying again, day after day. This one habit changed everything for me, understanding that good enough, consistency, is far superior to perfect but fleeting effort. So your action stemming from this insight is simple but powerful. Don't try to build the perfect financial skyscraper overnight. Choose one small, almost laughably simple financial habit. This could be tracking just one category of spending daily, maybe just your coffee habit or your groceries. It could be checking your bank account balance for 60 seconds every morning while you wait for your coffee to brew. Or it could be transferring just $5 into a savings account every single day. The key is to make it small enough that it feels almost effortless, even on your worst days. Your goal isn't perfection. Your goal is presence. Do it imperfectly. Some days you'll forget. Some days you'll only track half your expenses. That's okay. Forgive yourself instantly, and just make sure you do it the next day. Try this for a week, focusing only on the consistency, not the perfection. Ask yourself, what small, messy habit could you start today? You know, we've talked about building positive money habits and sticking to your plans, right? But what happens when life throws a curveball, or maybe you just slip up? This brings us squarely into one of the most insidious traps there is, especially when you're trying to build anything significant, like a healthy financial life or a new skill. This is the all-or-nothing trap. It's the quiet saboteur that whispers in your ear the moment you deviate even slightly from your perfectly laid plans. Imagine you've committed to packing your lunch every day to save money, and you do great for 3 days. Then on Thursday, you're running late, meetings pile up, and suddenly you're standing in line at the overpriced sandwich shop. That's the slip. And in that instant, for many, the thought immediately follows, well, that's it. I blew it. I ruined my whole week's budget anyway. Might as well order pizza tonight, too. The diet starts Monday. Or maybe it's your savings plan. You intended to transfer $100 today, but an unexpected bill came up and you couldn't. Instead of transferring $50 or even $10, you think, nope, didn't hit the $100. Guess I'll wait until next paycheck. The whole goal is messed up now. This mindset keeps you perpetually stuck, oscillating violently between periods of incredibly strict adherence, which is often unsustainable anyway, and complete guilt-ridden abandonment. It's like being on a treadmill where you run for a bit, trip, and then decide the only logical thing to do is get off the treadmill entirely and go eat donuts because the run was ruined. The cause and effect here is crystal clear. One small, forgivable deviation leads to a cascade of choices that actively work against your goal. And why? Because you've mentally framed the single slip as a total failure of the entire effort. Here's the powerful, almost surprising truth that separates those who make real progress from those who spin their wheels. Successful people don't avoid slipping up. They aren't perfect robots who never overspend, miss a workout, or procrastinate. The real superpower isn't perfection, it's recovery. They see a slip for what it is, a single event, a momentary lapse, not a defining characteristic of themselves or a reason to throw away all prior and future effort. Think of it like falling down while learning to ride a bike. The all-or-nothing person would leave the bike in the street and decide cycling isn't for them. The person who makes progress gets back on, maybe scrapes a knee, but keeps pedaling. Getting back on track immediately after a slip is the financial equivalent of that resilience. It stops one deviation from becoming a disastrous spiral. It reinforces the idea that progress is messy, non-linear, and built on consistently returning to the path, not on never leaving it. So here's your prompt for action, something you can implement right now. The next time you catch yourself overspending on something small, missing a planned savings transfer, skipping a learning session, or any other deviation from your financial or personal growth plan, pay attention to the thought that follows. Do you hear that all-or-nothing voice? Acknowledge the slip without judgment. Okay, you bought the expensive coffee. It happened. Then immediately, take the very next small, consistent action you had planned. If you missed transferring $100 today, transfer $50 tomorrow. If you blew your lunch budget today, pack your lunch for tomorrow. Don't wait for Monday. Don't wait for the start of a new month or a new year. The sooner you return to the plan, the less power the all-or-nothing trap has over you. Try this for a week and see how quickly you bounce back. Your brain, it's a fascinating machine, isn't it? Incredible computing power, capable of complex analysis, creative leaps. And yet, when it comes to starting something new, especially something disciplined like managing your money better or consistently working on your mindset, it often feels like you're trying to push a boulder uphill. Why is that? Well, behavioral science offers a pretty straightforward answer. Your willpower isn't limitless. Think of it like a phone battery. Every conscious decision, every act of self-control drains a little bit of that energy. Trying to remember to do something brand new at a random point in your busy day, when that battery is already low? It's no wonder so many attempts at building financial habits or personal growth routines fizzle out faster than a cheap sparkler. The new behavior just doesn't have a place to live within the rhythm of your existing life. It's like trying to install a new app, but you keep forgetting where you saved the icon. But here's where the surprising insight from behavioral science completely flips the script. There's a technique so simple, yet so incredibly effective, it makes building consistency dramatically easier. Habit stacking. Instead of trying to build a new habit from scratch in isolation, you link the new habit you want to start with an existing habit you already perform automatically, every single day, without even thinking about it. It's like putting that new app icon right next to the social media one you open 100 times a day. Suddenly, it's right there, impossible to miss. Imagine this. You already drink coffee every morning. That's an anchor habit. You want to start tracking your expenses. Instead of trying to remember to do it sometime today, you stack it. After I pour my coffee, I will track my expenses for 5 minutes. The coffee triggers the tracking. Or maybe you always brush your teeth before bed. You want to read more personal finance books. Stack it. After I brush my teeth, I will read 1 page of a book on personal finance. The brushing triggers the reading. This isn't just a neat trick. It leverages the existing neural pathways in your brain, making the new habit feel less like a chore and more like the logical next step in a routine you're already executing on autopilot. It dramatically reduces the reliance on that precious, limited willpower battery. You're not expending energy deciding when or if to do the new habit. The existing habit makes the decision for you. This is where your action comes in. And trust me, this one habit changed everything for me when it came to consistency. It's deceptively simple, but don't let that fool you. First, identify just one existing daily habit you perform without thinking. Is it pouring your morning drink? Brushing your teeth? Unlocking your phone for the first time in the morning? Getting into your car? Now, choose one small, consistent money or mindset action you want to start or improve upon. Maybe it's tracking that 5 minutes of expenses, reading one page, spending 2 minutes reviewing your budget app, meditating for 60 seconds, or writing down one financial goal for the day. Finally, link them. Write it down. Say it out loud. Put it on a sticky note where you'll see it right after your existing habit. Make it concrete. After existing habit, I will new small habit. For example, after I hang up my car keys, I will check my budget app balance. Try this for a week. Observe how much easier it is to remember and to actually do that new habit when it's tethered to something you already do consistently. This isn't about reinventing your life overnight. It's about strategically inserting growth into the flow you've already built. Welcome to today's Transformation Dive, right here on Earn Flow Zone. Ever feel like you're drowning in advice, paralyzed by options, or just plain tired of trying to do it all perfectly? Like building wealth or mastering your money should feel like climbing Everest in flip-flops? Yeah, you're not alone. Sometimes the biggest barrier isn't the mountain itself, it's just lacing up the boots. We're cutting through the noise today, getting real about why consistency often feels impossible, and how to make it feel, well, possible, and maybe even a little bit easy. If you're into real, actionable money and mindset content, hit like and subscribe. It helps way more than you think. Seriously, it's like giving us a little high five through the screen, and that energy fuels this whole operation. Drop a comment with where you're watching from, or your biggest money habit win. Big or small, we celebrate it all here. Let's dive in and change the way you think about success. Sometimes, even when you know exactly what you should be doing and you understand the why, the simple act of starting or continuing feels like a monumental effort. You hit the end of a long day. Your brain feels like scrambled eggs, and the thought of doing even the minimum you've set for yourself, yeah, that just doesn't compute. You might tell yourself, I just don't have a spare 15 minutes to learn about investing tonight. Or, there's no way I can scrounge together an extra $10 to save this week. You see the target you think you're supposed to hit. Maybe it's that $10 or that 15 minutes. And because you feel you can't reach that specific, seemingly small goal, your brain goes into an all-or-nothing mode. And nothing usually wins that fight. The barrier to entry for maintaining your positive habits feels impossibly high on days when life hits you with a metaphorical baseball bat. Here's the surprising plot twist. The habit hack that completely rewires your relationship with consistency. Success isn't built on always hitting your target goal. It's built on never missing twice. Think of it like a game streak. One bad day is okay. It happens to literally everyone. But letting one missed day snowball into 2, 3, a week, a month, that's where habits die and momentum evaporates faster than coffee on a hot pavement. On those days, when your energy reserves are critically low, when stress is high, or time feels like a mythical concept. The goal isn't to perform at your peak. The goal is simply to maintain the streak. This is where the minimum viable action, or MVA, comes into play. It's about defining the absolute, non-negotiable, almost embarrassingly small version of your consistent action that you will commit to, no matter what. Let's bust a common myth. You don't need grand gestures every day to build lasting financial health or personal growth. You need persistence. And persistence on tough days looks different than on easy days. Maybe saving $10 this week truly feels impossible. But can you save $1? Can you transfer 50 cents from your checking to your savings? That tiny act, even if it seems insignificant in terms of dollar amount, is hugely significant in terms of reinforcing your identity. You are telling yourself, I am a saver. I save even when it's hard. Maybe sitting down for 15 minutes to learn about compound interest feels like asking you to build a rocket ship. But can you read one paragraph of an article? Can you listen to 60 seconds of a relevant podcast? Can you just open the book or app? That small action keeps the learning identity alive. Perhaps tracking every single penny spent feels overwhelming when your budget is a mess. But can you just check your bank balance? Just log in and look. That simple check-in maintains the I am someone who pays attention to my money identity. This minimum viable action isn't about optimizing results on a single day. It's about optimizing for long-term consistency and strengthening the identity of the person you want to become. The person who is consistent, who is disciplined, who is in control of their finances and their growth path. It lowers the barrier to entry so drastically that saying no to your MVA feels almost silly, even on your worst day. It's the ultimate anti-procrastination hack for building habits. The cause-effect is clear. MVA, consistent action, even tiny. Streak maintained, identity reinforcement, momentum preserved, long-term progress achieved. Your action right now is simple but profoundly powerful. For each of your chosen consistent actions, maybe it's saving, learning, tracking your spending, practicing a positive mindset habit, define the absolute smallest version you would commit to doing even on your absolute worst day. Write it down. Be specific. For example, my minimum saving action is $1. My minimum learning action is reading one paragraph. My minimum tracking action is checking my main bank balance. This habit, this simple act of defining your floor, changed everything for me in maintaining momentum, even when life felt like chaos. Try this for a week and see how powerful just maintaining the streak can be. All right, we've covered a lot today, from busting the perfection myth to defining your absolute lowest bar for success on those tough days. The power of the minimum viable action is that it keeps you in the game, even when you feel like you have no energy left. It reinforces your identity as someone who is committed to their financial health and personal growth, preventing one bad day from derailing everything. The potential long-term benefit here is immense. Imagine the cumulative effect of never letting more than one day slide. Imagine the confidence you build by proving to yourself over and over that you can show up, even in a tiny way, regardless of how you feel. This isn't about being a robot. It's about being strategically consistent. It's about building a floor beneath you so you never fall completely off track. It's a deeper insight into growth, True discipline isn't about forcing yourself to do massive things when you don't want to. It's about making the smallest possible commitment and honoring it consistently. In the end, your bank account will catch up to your mindset, not the other way around. All right, here is the expanded script section for Section 12, formatted as requested. Consistency, your path to financial flow. So, we've explored the terrain, right? You started this journey maybe feeling a little stuck, waiting for that big breakthrough moment, the massive investment win, the sudden career jump, the inheritance. Perhaps you're still holding on to a flicker of skepticism, thinking that consistently taking tiny steps couldn't possibly lead you anywhere truly significant. It feels too slow, too small to matter. But let's bring it back to that powerful image, the Grand Canyon. This awe-inspiring masterpiece of nature wasn't carved out by one single monumental flood or earthquake. It was shaped, drop by relentless drop, by the consistent flow of a river over eons. Think about that scale. Your journey to financial freedom, your mastery of a new skill, building an unshakable, confident mindset. These are carved the exact same way, not by one heroic sprint, but by consistency. It's about showing up, day after day, even when the motivation wanes, even when the immediate results aren't shouting for attention, even when you inevitably stumble or mess up. This is perhaps the most surprising fact about serious growth. It's built in the quiet, messy, imperfect moments of showing up repeatedly, not the flawless, intense bursts you see glorified. People often drastically underestimate the power of this quiet persistence. They keep waiting for the perfect time, the sudden opportunity, the big break, and in doing so, they often stay frozen, right where they are. They watch others who simply started moving build momentum while they remain paralyzed by the perceived gap between their current reality and their desired future. They feel overwhelmed by the sheer mountain of change needed, never taking that crucial first small step onto the path. What happens if you ignore this fundamental lesson? It's not just that you stay stagnant. You actively invite compound negativity into your life. Your debt grows because you're not consistently chipping away. Your skills stagnate because you're not consistently practicing. Your limiting beliefs harden because you're not consistently challenging them. You get stuck in a cycle of wishing, hoping, and feeling like a victim of circumstance, instead of stepping into your power as the architect of your future. But what happens if you embrace the messy, imperfect power of consistency? You start small, yes, but you start. You build momentum, not just financially, but mentally. You gain genuine confidence, not from external validation, but from the internal proof that you can commit to something and follow through, however tiny the action. You realize you have far more power to shape your reality than you ever thought. The river starts flowing. The path doesn't appear magically. It reveals itself as you walk it, step by consistent step. This one habit, the habit of consistent small action, changed everything for me. It wasn't about finding the perfect investment strategy or the highest paying job. It was about consistently applying the principles, day in and day out. It's the ultimate myth bust. You don't need perfection. You need persistence. Messy consistency will always beat perfect intensity because life happens. You'll miss a day. You'll overspend once. You'll feel discouraged. The key isn't never falling. It's getting back up quickly. This is where the true power lies. Recovering fast from slips and getting back to the consistent, albeit small, action. It's about stacking tiny habits, one on top of the other, until they form an unstoppable force. Define your minimum viable action, the absolute smallest thing you can do, even on your worst day. And this brings us right here, right now. Look back at some of the small actions we've identified throughout this entire journey. Maybe it was committing to save X amount each pay period, learning a new skill for just Y minutes daily, checking your Z account balance regularly instead of avoiding it, or practicing a specific mindset technique for 5 minutes. Pick just one small action from everything we've discussed, the one that feels most manageable right now, the one that seems easiest to start, or perhaps the one that, deep down, you know will have the most impact if you just did it. Commit to doing only that one small action today. And here's the real challenge, the true secret sauce. Commit to doing it again tomorrow. That single, consistent step, taken repeatedly, is not just a step. It's the beginning of everything. It's the first drop that starts carving your own Grand Canyon of financial flow and personal freedom. It will feel insignificant at first, maybe even silly. Push through that feeling. Trust the compound power of consistency. In the end, remember this: your bank account will catch up to your mindset, not the other way around.